Have you ever stepped out of a conversation because you felt unsafe? I have conversations for a living. I'm a hairstylist. In fact, I've built my business on conversations by putting 5 business cards in my pocket each morning with the goal of getting rid of all of them by the end of the day. I'm not talking about just handing them out randomly to people. I'm talking about having a conversation with a stranger about their hair to convince them to make me their new hairstylist. That is not easy. You don't just change your hairstylist, do you? No, I have to break you up. So first I have to find you. And you know I'm going to pick you on a bad hair day. It's my best shot. And then I do analysis. Your skin tone, your face shape, your hair texture, your choice of handbag. And then I come up with some ideas that I genuinely believe would make you look and feel your very best. And when I'm ready, I take a deep breath, I reach for a card, and I step into the conversation. It sounds like this. Excuse me, I'm Todd Kane, I'm a hairstylist. My salon is actually just around the corner, and I was sitting right over there thinking how much I would love the opportunity to do your hair. I know, right? The response is almost always the same. Oh my God, are you judging me right now? I had no time to do it, this is a mess. What would you do with it? Actually, I would clean those ends up. I'd add some layers for some movement. I'd swipe that bang right out of your face to bring your eyes into focus. And then if you're open to color, well, then we could really have some fun. And off I'd go. Here's my card. I hope to see you soon. I would feel great. I would smile. I would be enthusiastic, inspired even, because even if you didn't make the appointment, I showed up in that conversation with complete integrity. I wish all conversations were that way. But you know, when 2020 hit and COVID impacted our lives, a lot of things changed for us. Especially my conversations, the ones in my chair. Now listen, I like having conversations with like-minded people just like you do. They're reassuring, they're confidence building, and they make me feel safe. But conversations with people who hold opposing views, now those can be challenging, frustrating, threatening even. They can make me feel unsafe. And when I feel unsafe, I can make choices and compromises to my integrity that I normally would not make. In effect, choosing safety over integrity. As 2020 progressed, I started choosing safety a lot, especially with one client. It would start off okay, I think, difference of opinion and then some humor, which turned to sarcasm, which turned to talking at each other and over each other, and soon I was just shaking my head with an uncomfortable smile as he went on. I couldn't get that haircut done fast enough. I'm not even sure what he said on this particular day. I just remember thinking about all the things I hadn't said. And like a slow building whistle of a tea kettle, I reached my boiling point. I threw my hands back, I stepped back out of that conversation, I said, enough! I wish I would have stopped there. I didn't find a way to do so, and so I let him have it. When I was done, I looked up and saw his just face and mine, and I didn't even recognize either one of us. You talk about a mirror moment. Nothing was said. I quickly finished the haircut. He paid and he left. And what happened? Here's what I knew with complete certainty. I didn't want this to ever happen again. That relationship, it mattered to me. And I wanted to find a way back to that conversation. So that night I sat down with pen and paper. I'm comfortable expressing myself that way. I had just published my first book, Hide and Seek. And I was working with the word find as an acronym and title for the second. So I wrote down find, F-I-N-D in big letters. And then I started to think about how I felt about that conversation. Now, I've done a lot of work with my PTSD, and I know the value of acknowledging your feelings, listening to what they have to tell you, especially when I feel unsafe. I'm not just talking about physically unsafe, like a broken lock on your front door or walking alone at night. I'm talking about emotionally, spiritually, and financially unsafe. They matter too. We'll drop everything to replace the locks on our front door, but we'll allow our anxiety about the economy, to break into all of our conversations. And when we feel unsafe like that, our morals go out the window as we just defend whatever we're feeling at the time, compromising our integrity by being disrespectful, dishonest, and unkind. So I wrote down feel for the letter F and find. Feel. What was I feeling in that conversation? Frustrated, angry, unsafe, disappointed, all of them. I wrote them all down, and I sat with them. I allowed myself to feel them and listen to what they were telling me. One feeling stuck out the most, unsafe, and so I circled it. That would be the feeling I interrogated first. I in find is interrogate. It's a strong word. It's an intense word. It makes me think of being locked alone in a dark room with my feelings, right, with a spotlight on my forehead, finding the truth. I respond to that intensity because for me, I don't like to embrace uncomfortable truths. Does anybody? It also is heavily influenced by Susan Scott's book, Fierce Conversations. In it, she talks about interrogating reality, to stop pretending the problem doesn't exist, to avoid the discomfort. When I interrogate my feelings, I keep that in mind. And I use a series of why questions, a circle of why, if you will. Why? It keeps you focused on the feeling. With the occasional, what are you pretending not to know, to keep me from avoiding and pretending. So why was I feeling unsafe in that conversation? Well, we were arguing about the economy again, okay? Why does arguing about the economy make you feel unsafe? And I would continue on. Why? Answer unsafe. Why? Answer unsafe. Or I got to the truth, or I got to an I don't know. Now, I don't know for me is an opportunity. I know I'm getting close. Dig a little bit deeper. Find that truth, or just surrender to it. And so I surrendered to it. Why was I feeling unsafe in that conversation? Because in all that COVID madness, I was afraid of losing my business. And that was the truth behind that feeling. And now with this new truth, I can begin to navigate my way back to the conversation. N in find, navigate. I like navigate. Intentional, accountability, responsibility. And with each step back to that conversation, I became more confident and gained more perspective. My first step in navigating, forgiveness. COVID was tough on me, my conversations and my relationships. That means it was tough on other people too. And if I could forgive myself for the choices I made, I could forgive them for the choices they made in those difficult conversations, because those relationships mattered to me. Next, I needed some boundaries. And I needed to come up with some statements that reflected my current beliefs and values, so that I could navigate in and out of these conversations with integrity so that it wouldn't happen again. I was excited about the course I had plotted. All I had left to do was do it. D in find stands for do. I know it's simple, but hey. Look, a lot of people struggle with the doing because we don't trust the process to get to the do. And as we're navigating our course, we run into frustration and anger and doubt and other things. That's all part of it. It's okay. That's the beauty of find. It's right here for you. Encouraging for you to be integral. In fact, if we remain integral throughout the entire process, the doing remains easy. If you feel fear, anger, or doubt, take that back up to F and feel it, interrogate that, navigate that, and then continue doing what is in keeping with your morals and your values and beliefs. Even if other people won't do it with you, because it's the right thing to do. Before I could reach out to my client and extend the invitation to him, Joel texted me. He said, "Hey, I need a haircut." He sounds like that. "By the way, thank you for calling me out on my stuff." That was encouraging. I had done all that work to get here. He must have been doing the same. Texting back, "Yes, right on, let's do it." We made the appointment. In 2 days' time, we were right back where we started. We had both been able to find our way back to that conversation. He said, "You know what, Todd? When I left here that day, I didn't care if I ever came back." But he said as he kept walking, he realized that our relationship mattered to him and that he wanted to find out if what he had done caused me to do what I had done. I told him about my fear of losing my business and how our conversations, how they affected me emotionally and financially. He said, "I understand." He also said, "I was just being honest with you, though." And I said, "I don't know how I feel about that honesty thing." So we interrogated that together. And we found that we can be honest with each other and disrespectful at the same time. We can work hard to establish trust in a relationship, but violate that trust by being reckless and irresponsible with our words. And we can stand it with courage and conviction and defend a truth that is not true for someone else and might not be true at all. We had both compromised our integrity in that conversation. And by choosing our safety over our integrity, it made things worse for each other. But in this conversation, by finding our integrity, we actually created the safe space for that conversation to happen. Feel it. Allow yourself to feel those emotions. They're telling you something. And then take those feelings and interrogate them. Find the truth behind them. And then with that new truth, navigate with intention and perspective. And finally, do what is keeping with your beliefs because it's the right thing to do, even if no one else will do it with you. I've been able to find my way back into many conversations based on this experience, and a way to stay in them. Each time becoming more confident in my ability to have these conversations and strengthening my relationships. Do you have a conversation you need to find your way back into? A relationship that still matters to you? I have a few more. Join me. Share this idea with them. Let it be the invitation. And together we'll all take a deep breath, reach for our integrity, and step back into the conversation. Thank you.